Hey, how you doing? How's it going? In today's video, we're gonna talk about how to fetch data using client component. In the previous video, we fetched data, for example, this one using this Vine API for server components. There's a different distinction between server components and the client component. Let's hit to inspect and network tab of our browser. Any browser of your choice is acceptable, whether you're using Safari, Chrome. In this case, I'm using Arc. When we hit network tab and we reload the page, it shows all the images that is fetching right now or provide some details of it. But when we filter all the requests by fetch xhr, that is what our fetch command does, it doesn't show anything. Why? Because the fetch happens in a server component. When we log something here, console log here, it shows in our terminal instead of our application here. So in order to fetch data using a client component, we have to mark this file as use client. There are certain limitations for client component. For example, we cannot use async functions, therefore we can't use await keyword. So what do we have to do in order to show data? Let's focus up. First, let's create a function for this. Async function get wines. I don't think that is a trouble. Wines. Let's return wines. Wait. Use effects indicate that when our component mounts, what do? We wanna get wines first. Then it will return our wines. What to do with it? For the sake of this example, let's just log them and add a catch block if we have any error. Basically what this code does, we have to comment this code out temporarily just to see what we actually fetch. We are telling the component, we are telling the React, when our component loads, go get wines. The wines function will fetch data from this API. It will put it in JSON, formatted as a JSON file, and then return it. Return that JSON data. Then we will log what shows. Let's hit refresh. Wine is not defined. Yeah, of course, because we have to hit save. Okay, now if you pay attention closely, we can see that in our network tab, there's an actual request. Sample APIs /wine/reds with a response. And if we console log here, we can see the wines. The reason why it logs 2 times is that we are using development mode. But in production, that we will talk about later, it only logs once. But how do we have to show these wines? We have to use state for that. Wines, set wines, use state. Use state, it's a space for handling and saving data. It's like a variables, but you can only mutate data or change or update its data using this function, set wines. And the initial data is an empty array of wines. In here, I want to set wines to wines, and I want to clear the log. I want to format this error while fetching wines. Let's get back to our application and see it's working here. but it's a client component. In a server component, it's more optimized and your APIs and your URL are safe. So it's a better practice to use server components for these kind of actions. In the next video, we will talk about static and dynamic rendering in NextJS applications. Thank you for watching.